From the front of our feeder house here, we've got access to our turnbuckle. The turnbuckle is going to come on your HP feeder house. Again, HP for your header pitch. If you have a standard feeder house, you won't have to worry about this grease point. On the turnbuckle, you got 1, 2 zerks that need to be hit at every 100 hours. For servicing of the operator's platform, we've got a grease zerk tucked below here. This is actually labeled with a blue tag and a 100-hour service interval. This is going to grease our pivot point for our operator's ladder. On the angle gearbox of our unloading tube here, we've got a couple of zerks. The first one's up on top here. That's going to be this little support bracket, and it's going to be labeled with a blue decal at a 100-hour service interval. The second one we'll hit is actually behind our black door, and we can get access to it. It's got a decal, a blue one, with a 100-hour service interval. On earlier machines, you may have a third grease zerk, and it's going to be found behind this door. In fact, you can get good access to this by swinging your unloading auger out. Here we have a blue tag 100-hour grease zerk. To get access to the grease zerk, we need to actually remove this silver door and access our grease gun through here. You may have to turn your unloading auger to get full access to the grease zerk. Here we have the belt drive of a variable speed feeder house. On the drive side, we've got a blue tag 100-hour service interval for a zerk. On the driven side, we've also got a blue tag 100-hour, and with it we have 3 openings. Each opening has 2 grease zerks. Grease 1 zerk per opening every 100 hours. On the left side of the machine, we have a mechanical leakage for our concave adjustment. It's stamped with a blue tag 100-hour service interval for greasing. Behind the front tire here, we have another grease zerk. It's labeled with a blue tag 100 service hour interval, and it's going to grease your coupler from your axle to your final drive. Here we've got our unloading chain, and on this we've got another blue tag here with a 100-hour service interval, and this is calling out a grease zerk on the back side here. We're looking at the back left side of the machine here to discuss a couple of grease zerks on the rear axle. Looking on the left side, I've got 1, 2, and a third grease zerk on the ball joint up in front. These are going to be grease zerks that greased at a 100-hour service interval. Once you've done the left side, you want to be sure to hit the right side. All 3 zerks over there will also be the 100-hour service interval. You get the left and the right done. Make sure then climb below, hit your grease fittings on your rear axle pivot point. Be sure to check your OMM, as there are a few different styles of rear axles. Looking from the back side here, have you hit a couple zerks on the back side of the rotors. We got a decal with this labeled with a 100-hour service interval. We want to make sure that we hit both the left and the right grease zerk for the back of the rotors. We're here on the top of our machine, up above our engine compartment, and there's 3 grease zerks we want to hit from this position. If we look at our pivot point here, we've got 3 grease zerks marked with blue decals. These are going to be 100-hour service interval zerks. We want to make sure that we grease these. These are going to grease the pivot point on the tensioners for all 3 of our engagements. I'm here at the back right side of my machine, and I've opened up my panel to get access to my rotor variator. There's a couple of grease zerks we want to hit on this variator. First off, on the drive side, we got a blue decal with a 100-hour service interval. It's calling out a zerk tucked in the back here. Over on the driven side then, we've got also a blue decal with a 100-hour service interval, and it's calling out 3 sections. In each one of those sections, there's 2 zerks. We want to make sure that we hit 1 zerk per section every 100 hours. After I've greased the variator, I'll hop up in my cab and take my variator from slow speed up to high speed to make sure that we lube the shaft. Here we're looking at our variator belt drive for our threshing system. We've got a couple of zerks to talk about on here. First circ on the drive side is marked with a blue decal and labeled 100-hour service interval. Down on the driven side then, we also have a blue decal with a 100-hour service interval, and it's calling out 3 sets of zerks. Each set has 2 zerks. We grease 1 zerk per set. We're on the right side of the machine here, looking at our cleaning fan variator. This system's got 2 grease zerks on it. The first one is on our drive side with a blue decal marked 100-hour service interval. The second one's down on our driven pulley, and it's marked also with a blue decal and a 100-hour service interval. It's shown here. On my Gen 2 track system here, I've got a service interval tucked in the back here, and it's labeled with a blue tag 100-hour service interval. It's going to be a grease zerk. It's going to grease the pivot point of your idler wheel on your track system. Looking at our front axle here on our Gen 2 track system, we've got 2 more grease zerks to be aware of on the right side of our machine, as well as keep in mind to hit the ones on the left side also. The first one here on the front marked with the blue decal, 100-hour service interval. We're going to hit that zerk. The other one on the back side here, also a blue decal, 100-hour service interval. Make sure you hit that zerk. We get these 2 hit, go to the left side, hit those 2 100-hour service intervals.